Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, delighted to have your company. Thank you very much for joining us, and a big thank you to all the people who've been hitting the subscribe button and the bell as well and joining the football family here on PLZ Soccer. Alan Ruff, as ever, is by my side, as he has been for 10 years. And of course, Tam McManus here on the Friday, and it's the return of the prodigal son. He's back. He's with us, Tam. We've missed him. Charlie's here, looking great.
He's finally managed to get a train at the 5 to 4 to your studio.
Yeah, he set out on Tuesday. Anyway, we're delighted he's here. It's absolutely magnificent. There's a lot of people, actually, I think, Charlie, and it has to be mentioned to you, quite a lot of the boys on the YouTube and through our emails mentioning it would be great to see you back. So there's a lot of positive stuff for you, a lot of negative stuff, but I've kept that in a separate
No, that's all right. But to be fair, obviously I've been in Ferry recently, and there's 3 old men who I really don't know their names. I should ask their names, but you know, they watch the show every day, and you know, they love it, and it's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely, and great to have you as well. And there Stuart Rogers says, welcome back, Charlie. You can see that yourself. And somebody called Kyogo's Plimsolls says, Charlie, who gave you a lift in? Well, there's the Uber man himself, Ruffy. Ruffy's the new taxi, isn't he? Which is fantastic, because there's nothing better than a taxi driver who's got nothing else to do apart from play tennis and golf, and then the rest of his time's free, Chaz.
Yeah, he played a couple of World Cups, driving you around. It's not bad, is it?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you right now, if he manages to talk football with you in that car, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked.
Well, first conversation was nothing about football.
So, well done. You're going to have one whale
last shopping trip.
Absolutely. In my first 3 months with him, I actually thought, my God, I've just left Derek Johnson and I've now moved on to Ruff. It's unbelievable. But good to see Charlie back. Thanks, Matt, for that. And lots of people are mentioning it's good to see him back. And he's here to talk football, and that's what it's all about on this show. We always like to chat about football. Charlie's playing it, and of course the rest of us are watching it and heavily involved in it as well. You can give us your opinion on what you think is going to happen with your favourite team or anything that's bugging you in football. Of course, the big fear, Ruffy, to be honest with you, is on the 28th of January, the window closes 11 o'clock on Monday, and then managers are thinking, if somebody is signed over the weekend and we lose a player, how do we try and quickly get someone in?
Yeah, well, I think most of them have to have a list sitting at the side of their desk in anticipation of things like that happening. You know, because it is going to happen at certain clubs. Some clubs will be more desperate than others to get somebody in, and a phone call might, out of the blue, you might not see it's coming, and all of a sudden you have to be sharp there. But there seems to be a lot of managers now have contacts down south, and a lot of people they know at clubs they can go into and say, what do you think, what have you got? So that seems to be the way it's going just now.
Yeah, Charlie, Jim Goodwin was quite vociferous in his condemnation of the January transfer window. He doesn't like it. Thinks the clubs who maybe don't have a lot of money to spend are open to people who want to cherry pick as well, and then it's a disadvantage to them. What do you think?
It is, but sometimes I think you've got to say that you could take that as a compliment, that, you know, like you say, McGrath's an obvious one where, you know, he's going to move on, but, you know, wouldn't surprise if somebody comes in late and tries to have a nibble at St Mirren to see what finances they're like, if they're in, you know, if they need a bit of money into the end of the season or what. But yeah, it's going to happen to the smaller clubs, and you've just got to try and be strong if you can, if you're in a position where the player's under contract. But if you've got players like McGrath who've got 6 months to go, then you may as well take something rather than nothing, maybe in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to Robert Robertson, who says, welcome back, Charlie. Now at least we'll get one voice that's fair towards Rangers. And I read that out actually because, of course, Robert really guilty of selective hearing. So I thought I'd cane him right away there. Well done, Robert. Try and listen to all the conversation, and it'll be fantastic. And also, lots of people want to talk about this weekend, if there's going to be any kind of change at the top or the bottom. There are some fantastic games. Of course, Celtic against Dundee United. The last time Dundee United came to Celtic Park, Ruffy, I was well impressed with them. They had a goal, played some good football, had good possession. Not many teams have that ethos, you know, let's go there and have a go.
No, you have a go, you know which way it's going to go. You know, you either get away with it or you don't get away with it, because the way Celtic play, you know, their attacking style, if they're on their game, you know, and you make the game wide open, you're going to be on the end of a costly defeat.
Yeah, but it was 1-1,
Robbie.
I mean, they did well.
And the one they got at midweek there, the 2 late goals, will give them a bit of confidence going. But it's a different team, you know, and a different kind of players, a different kind of threat for what they had midweek. So you have to be strong going to Ibrox and Parkhead.
Yeah, it's a real blow. I mean, I think it raised eyebrow from you, Charlie, on Fuchs leaving Dundee United off to Peterborough.
I think he's their best player. You know, I think it's going to be a huge loss for him in midfield. I think he's the one that probably has the quality that not many of them have that. And you know, he's good on the ball, he's good, energetic. A lot of United fans are saying he's been poor the last month or so, but you know, it takes a lot of you when you know there's a deal on the table, and you know financially it's probably going to change for his family as well. It's been difficult for him, but I think it's going to be a big loss for him. And now they've got time. I've seen the link with Kevin McDonald, which would be a good sign for them. So no, it'll be interesting to see what Tam and Tony and that do at United before the deadline close, and you know, they've got a big game Tuesday as well.
Yeah, I mean that in itself. Do you think players subconsciously, Tam, do they think sometimes, as Charlie said, do they sense there's a move on? You know, Stephen Glass already mentioned that he thought Ryan Hedges destabilised his performance. He's obviously on his way to Blackburn to seal his move away from Pittodrie. But do you think it kind of is in the back of your mind, I don't want to get into a tackle, I don't want to injure, I want to get out of here?
I think it is if you're out of contract. I think if you're out of contract, if you're getting linked to clubs and you're get a long-term deal, I think that's different. But if you're out of contract and your agent's having talks with people, and you've got a pre-contract on the table, and you know you're getting X amount at this club, you know, and in a couple of weeks' time, you don't want to get injured.
But I think you could use Martin Boyle as an example.
I thought Martin Boyle played well against Celtic.
Yeah, no, he played well, but listen, that was life-changing.
Aye.
And he stoked the fire a little bit to try and push the deal through, because it wasn't going to happen. He was unhappy with the situation. He wanted out. And there's other ways that he done it. Yeah, he played well in the games and that, but in the background he would have been kicking off trying to get out, because it was life change for him. So there's different parameters to getting a move. Like you say, if you're out of contract in 6 months, you've got a pre-contract, you'd think, I don't want to be getting injured here. But then on that Martin Boyle situation, you'd be thinking, well, this is going to change my life. I need to try and get a way of getting out of here. So I have to cause a few problems to get out. And he done that. And listen, fair play to him, it's going to be life-changing. Hibs got good money for them.
Yeah, Ange Postecoglou, on the very point of whether there's going to be any new faces coming in. I don't know about you, Tam, but one of the boys that he managed to get in, Matt O'Reilly, certainly impressed. I was well impressed with him.
By all accounts, obviously I was at the first part for the Hibs game, but by all accounts he played really well. What a baptism of fire that is for your first game. He came in at Tynecastle, and by all accounts he played well for an hour, then he started to tire, but I think it gives Celtic another option. They're very strong. I mean, their first choice midfield was all injured.
Yeah.
Rogic, Turnbull and McGregor. You know, so if you can get guys like Hatate and the boy O'Reilly coming in, then I think that strengthens the depth of the squad as well.
Yeah, he did mention today, the Celtic manager, that there won't be any signings coming in now. I think he's done his business, he's happy with what he's got, but there could be the potential for some players to go out, some after the window shuts in Scotland, because there are various other countries across Europe that do have a longer deadline to sign players. And with that in mind, I think Albion Ayeti could be on his way, possibly back to Basel. I have to be honest with you, it's been a £5 million failure. It's hefty.
I said that 18 months ago. When
somebody called it, I'm going to say that. Charlie did call it.
I like to pat myself on the back. Listen, it works or it doesn't work, and it's not worked for Celtic, and it's not worked for Ayeti, so possibly to put him back on loan, maybe to try and give him a bit of confidence to, come back maybe to Celtic in the summer or what.
A shop window, really.
It puts him in a shop window for somebody else. But
yeah, you took Pelters, Charlie, for that. Do you remember?
I did, but it's you got to judge on what they've done in their career so far. And Celtic, listen, it's a big club. It's difficult to go and be the main number 9
Yeah.
And at times he had to go and try and do that, and he never done that, which is difficult, and it's sad to see. But he'll go and play and get an opportunity back in Basel, and might just suit him being there. And let's say I think Celtic have invested well in this window, and it'll be an interesting 3 or 4 months from now to end the season. Yeah,
I mean, one of the guys, Hatate, he scored an absolute screamer in midweek. I think Ange Postecoglou happy with his business, because from his own point of view, he's in control, he says, of who comes in. He will determine who's coming in because he wants them to play a particular way that suits his team. And he had that to say today about, you know, the players that he's brought in.
Having that sort of control and being able to sort of make sure that the characteristics we're looking for, both from a point of view of the player and also, you know, the person that we're trying to sign, has been vital. And
yeah, I think that tells most Celtic fans that he's got his hand firmly on the steering wheel. He'll decide who comes in. You know, sometimes you get a situation you think, who the hell bought this guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he's held his hands up. He's the one that's going to be responsible if it doesn't work, which didn't happen before, because everybody was sitting going, who brought him in? You know, who identified them? But that's not the case now. In January's always been a painful month for the Celtic supporters, you know, waiting till the very, very last minute, the very last second, you know, to see who was coming through the door. You know, the olden days, it was a marquee signing, you know, and 9 times out of 10 it didn't work. So at least at this moment in time, he looks as if he's building for the future. He's paying good money out, you know, there's not many loan players coming in. It's all players that are going to be there for 2, 3, 4 years, so that can only be good as well.
Just out of curiosity, Ruffy, Hatate looked, I mean, he looked the part in midweek. You know, Tam said they've lost the 3 main midfielders of the last month, but Hatate just eased in there. He was full of energy, he was closing down, he was picking passes, and then when he picked one up, he scalped it. As a goalkeeper, did you think maybe Craig Gordon should have done better? Craig
Gordon will know he should have done better. You know, a goalkeeper, he has quality, and some of the saves he's had this year have been unbelievable, and he will know the standard that he sets. You know, that I think he tried to push it around the post, and I don't know, maybe it just moved just before it got to him or whatever, but you would expect him at the top of his game to save that shot.
Yeah, no, I think the big thing about the difference between Celtic from a year ago is, like you say, the first 2 or 3 days of the window, the deals were done, weren't they? It was all lined up, signed, sealed, and Celtic get the benefit of that by, you know, being able to introduce them in different games so far. And you know, he looks at another fantastic buy from overseas, and you know, it's just how long Giakoumakis can go with what he's producing for Kyogo as well. He's a huge loss. You know, I think he sets the tone for Celtic, and they'll be looking to try and get him back fit quick.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at this game, I mean, all the evidence stacks up in favour of Celtic to see off Dundee United in this one, Tam. What did you go from the predictor?
I think I went for Celtic to win 2-0. 3-1, sorry. I just think that Celtic have too much quality, but I think Dundee United can go and test them there. But Celtic are playing well at the minute, and I think their squad's looking a lot stronger. So I think they'll win the game 3-1. I don't think Dundee will get anything.
Yeah, Ruffy, are you sharing that view?
Yeah, I think the scoreline flattered them a wee bit in midweek. You know, the penalty that they got, and then Nicky Clark out jumping a 6'5" centre half. You know, they're not got away with that at Parkhead. So I thought they were fortunate to get their win, but I can't see it at Parkhead. I think I went Celtic 2-0.
Yeah, unbeaten in 16 home league matches now. The Celtic, and the run is looking impressive there. I think the last defeat was Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, no, listen, they're going well because they've got a solid sort of way of playing. Ange's got his philosophy over to how he wants to do it, and they're getting their rewards. They've got good players. You'd expect Celtic to beat, you know, most teams every week. You need, as an opposition player, you need Celtic to have an off day, and you need everything to fall right for you. At the moment, everything is going well at Celtic. It doesn't look like they're losing the ones that are losing through injury. The other lads are stepping in. That's what you want is a big club squad game, getting these players to come in and perform, and they're doing that. And it'll be a test for them against United, but I think they're edge it, and they'll have one eye on the Old Firm in midweek as well.
Yep, okay, that's Celtic against Dundee United. I've got Celtic to win that one 3-0, Tam. I can't even see United getting a goal in that, and that's even with Starfelt at the back. But anyway, apart from anything else, that's Celtic against Dundee United. What do you think of it all? Thanks to Neil B. He's in Vietnam, Ruffy. We've got a couple of fans. We've got a Hibby over there who watches the show as well, but Neil's in Vietnam. He's been there for 10 years. He says, I love you, Alan. You you keep me going, all the boys on the show. So it's very nice to get somebody from Vietnam. We've got such a great mix of people, young and old, male and female, who follow the show, and it's just growing and growing since we made the decision to go to YouTube, Ruffy. More and more people finding out that we're here, subscribing and hitting the bell to make sure they don't miss the show.
Yep, and I'm sure if we were expats or pats over, whatever, we'd want a connection with Scottish football, and that's what we do. Well, that's what we do. We give them an avenue. We give them an avenue to catch up and something they can't see.
Yeah. Have you subscribed to the show on YouTube? Did you hit the bell on your computer?
Know where YouTube is.
He just called me a tube.
Exactly.
A different type of tube he watches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another thing I was going to say, Ruffy, is you have been on holiday and people have come into the bar and said to you, that's, especially in New York, places like that, lots of people come up and say that's where they watch the show, they get their news, they keep up to date, like a wee bit of banter. Some people will give us, and Saiful says he's from Bangladesh, so there's lots of people who are watching from all there. Sean McAteer's in Hong Kong. So that's magic, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
But it's great for us.
Where's Alan Patterson from?
Alan Patterson's from Loch Ellie in Fife, which is, don't knock it, because there will be a night out and we'll need to go somewhere to
that's
stop off.
That's Big Leash's neck there, isn't it? Jim Leishman.
Only contact Ruffy's got on his phone. But nevertheless, Alan could be crucial for us, Ruffy, if we've got a wee night out and suddenly we think, we want somewhere to stop over.
Vietnam.
No, Alan's in Loch Ellie. It's a wee bit more realistic.
No. Loch Ellie's one of the nicest places I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Since I'm going there next week.
There you are, the dinners. William says Peter Starfelt needs a little bit of time to settle in. Great player for Celtic. Everybody needs a scapegoat. It took Paul Elliott a year to settle. William, it's a very valid point. I mean, listen, he's... At the moment, I think a lot of people are looking at Starfelt and saying, well, you like him, or he's settled in, or he's at least there's not any kind of a glaring mistakes at the moment. I do feel if Celtic, this window closes, I do feel it'll be Julian and Carter Vickers. That's my feeling on it.
I think he got off to a poor start, Starfelt, and I think a lot of people, it's first impressions with Celtic Rangers. It's difficult to change people's opinions. If you see somebody in the first few games and you think they're poor, it's difficult for them to change that back. You don't want to be proven wrong. So I think that a lot of Celtic supporters have made their mind up about Starfelt, and a lot of them are willing to give him an opportunity. I think he's been pretty good over the last few games that I've seen him. But I tend to agree, I think Julian's a better player, but must Celtic pay for Starfelt? 4 million? Yeah. I think if you're paying that kind of fee, you're going to try and get him in the team if you can.
Yep, okay. It's all about opinions. Thanks to James McKinnon. James McKinnon is now our new best friend, Ruffy, because we might as well ditch Alan from Fife because James is in Lanzarote. There's a custard pie right away. Thanks, Alan. We're off to Lanzarote. Rangers against Ross County up at Dingwall. Now, this is an interesting one to talk about. Ross County will feel slightly miffed what happened against Dundee United, but Rangers in midweek managed to grind it out. They got a great goal from Scott Arfield, and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was quick to praise Scott Arfield in his press conference. This is what he had to say about the man who came off the bench and got the winner for Rangers. Diallo is a young player who wants to play games. This is the guy that they have signed from Manchester United on loan. We are bringing him to our club to add value to our team like any other player in the squad. He has to perform to play, but I'm full of confidence that he will deliver. Scott Arfield is an experienced player, and he's definitely a player I want to have longer to be here at Rangers. Hopefully we can welcome him next season as well. I'm happy to have Scott and Ryan Jack back in our squad. It's great to have them both available ahead of the run of games we have. So Scott Arfield, Charlie, for some people they think, oh great, scored a chip. There's a great technical ability from Scott with that chip. I thought it was a great goal.
Yeah, it's a wonderful goal. It's great, like you say, technique. But I think Rangers need Scott Arfield because he's different from what they've got. They've got nice, tidy football players that want to go and they can hurt you. Rebo, Davis and Kamara and people like that. But Scotty wants to run like his goal he scored against Livingston earlier in the season. He wants to run beyond, and not many of the midfielders at Rangers want to do that. And he causes problems by doing that, and he distracts centre backs and things like that. So, I speak to Scotty quite a bit about it, and he loves it at Rangers. And it's just what deal do they offer him? Is it only for a 1 year contract, or are they going to offer him a 2 year contract? He's 33 now, so it's a big decision for the club and for Scotty as well. So no, I think he's been a good player, a good servant to Rangers, and you know, they'll look to tie him up. But I think he's definitely someone that they need to try and keep.
Do you think Rangers are still to go through the gears?
I do, yeah. I think that they've played well, but sometimes you've got to, like you say, Livingston at home. You're not going to play well every week. You've just got to grind results out. And the big test will be on Wednesday night in the Old Firm game.
Yeah.
Because Celtic are a different team from when they played them before in the season. So it's going to be a great challenge, it's going to be a big game. And but these are the games, and away at Ross County, home to Livingston, you need to just grind them out, get results, and then focus on the big one.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of people will say, Tam, that's championship winning form again. You know, to get back-to-back titles, you have to try and replicate what happened under Steven Gerrard. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst seems to be able to do that. There's been that transition. Maybe not the free-flowing football and the goals aplenty, but especially when you're looking at it, you're saying to yourself, well, you know, Aribo was away, Morelos is out of the team at the moment and playing for Colombia, so you've just got to grind it out at times.
Yeah, I don't think they've been as expansive under Van Bronckhorst as they've been under Gerrard. They play a different style of play, but they don't look as if they're going to concede goals, Rangers.
No.
They're very solid, they're very good defensively. They're not going to score 3 and 4 a game now. They're going to win 1-0, 2-0. They have still to go through the gears, but I think when you get Aribo back, and as Charlie mentioned, there are guys like Arfield coming on as well, young Alex Lowry's coming to the team, so I think they've got a little bit more flair in there, but they're very solid and hard to beat at the minute.
Yeah, what a huge shot in the arm I think it is, Ruffy. It came out of left field. You know, the negative news of losing Hadji is one thing, but suddenly to get Ahmed Diallo on loan from Manchester United is like, that's a huge lift.
Well, they move very quickly, and that's what we're talking about. Celtic didn't used to, but that's a sign of whoever's in charge there has got their finger on the pulse, and it just takes a phone call. Certainly the young boys get a bit of credential to pay that kind of money for them, so somebody somewhere has saw him for the future, you know, and Rangers could get the benefit of him. We'll have to wait and see if he throws them in right at the beginning, but certainly for somebody that's rated that, a young boy that's rated that highly, you know, you would take him in a minute.
Oh, listen, this is a guy who, you know, £19 million, you know, that's what his value was, so this is what Rangers have managed to get for a loan deal.
Well, you know, Ross Wilson and the people there, they're good at negotiating then to get him out of Man United for that. But listen, I think that it's for the lad, it's a great piece. But I've seen him linked with teams like Birmingham and things like that, and he's ended up at Rangers. For his mentality, how to play at a top level club, an elite club, it's only going to stand him in good stead going back to Man United, because listen, it's one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you know you need a certain type of player to play for Man United, but you need a certain type of player for Rangers to be able to handle that crowd and the pressure. And if he comes and turns it on, then you know you look to see that him going back to Manchester United in the summer and trying to force a way in, because he's shown a little bit of promise. He scored a couple of goals in the Europa League and things like that. So for Rangers to get somebody at that value on loan, it's good business from Ross and obviously the manager as well.
And you would think Charlie's going to have a real threat on the flanks now.
He's quick, you know. He's him one side, Kent the other side. Losing Hadji, I think, is a blow, because he's a very good player. But now the speed of Diallo and Kent on the outside will cause a lot of teams problems.
Yep, absolutely. So they're playing Ross County, Tam. I don't know how you see this, but Regan Charles Cook has been a star man for me. Every time I watch Ross County, he stands out. He's been really, really good, and he scores goals as well. So this is one of those games where I think if Rangers are going to win it, you know, they want to get an early goal. Everybody wants to get an early goal to calm them down, but I think it's going to be one of those late, tetchy games, you know. Ross County are never easy up there.
No, that's a difficult game. Charles Regan Coote, I think, is the joint top scorer now in the Premiership, you know, and he's been superb for Ross County. I think they need to try and keep a hold of him. He's a guy that could probably keep them in the division. His goals, you know, I don't see Dundee or St Johnstone having a guy that's going to get 10-15 goals this season, so he's vital for them. I still think Rangers will win. I think Ross County will score. I think they've scored a lot of goals in the league. I think they're third or fourth highest scorers in the league, Ross County, but they've also conceded a lot as well. So yeah. I think Rangers will win 3-1.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ross County maybe suddenly come up with somebody just before that window closes, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, he's certainly got enough contacts down in England, hasn't he, Malky? And he's been using every one of them to bring them up, and we know that they like to bring in 2 or 3 players in this window, so I think tomorrow's result might just push it on a wee bit. I also think Rangers will win this game, but we're Charlie talking in the car on the way here. Yes, 70, 80 mile an hour winds at the weekend, so that puts a bit of a leveler on some games, you know. So I think it'll be a battle.
Game during the week.
It'll be a battle for Rangers, a right battle for Rangers. But I think they've got enough people like Arfield to handle that kind of battle.
Put a level on Arbroath against Partick.
I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? My bottle crashed there. I have to be honest with everybody who's watching the show, because as soon as he says, I was talking to Charlie and he went 70, 80 mile an hour, and I thought, oh my God, there's another fine. Calm down, Ruffy. It's 70, 80 mile an hour winds. Anyway, apart from anything else, I think it's going to be stuffy. I think Rangers will win it 2-1.
I've got 2-0.
Yeah. Rangers win?
Just edge it.
Okay.
You hope.
Yeah. Yourself?
3-1 Rangers.
3-1. A comfortable win in the end, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all about opinions. What do you think of it all? If you're watching the programme and you enjoy the content, and there's lots of it on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, why not hit the subscribe button and hit the bell as well? And if you want all the breaking news, near or far, you can download the PLZ Soccer app, and it's got all the latest breaking news in the UK, Europe and across the globe as well. And if you miss the show, you just hit Scottish Football, hit the football show, and you can watch it at your leisure, and you'll also get all the managers' interviews on there as well. And as many people have done, and we're sending out a lot of great little gifts as a thank you. But if you hit the submission section on our app, you can record a message. You can actually film your man cave. Some people have filmed their man cave, Ruffy. And
Poland, yeah.
Yep, in Poland. And we're going to send out a wee thank you to more than a few people who are recording messages telling us what they think about their team. If you want to do that, we'll send you out something if we use your video on the channel, which is always good. More and more people getting a man cave. Have you got one down in your house down south?
No, I sold my house when I moved back up here. So in the process of looking to get another one.
Yeah. Are you nostalgic enough to put all the strips up and everything? When you...
No, once I get my sort of house, that everything will come at the storage, and the lucky ones will get on the wall. Some good ones.
Absolutely. Maybe not McManus, but others.
No, he was playing well before me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a Dundee one.
Have you got a man cave?
I've not got a man cave. I've got a spare room that I just put all my strips and that up.
Yeah.
Oh, we'd seen that during the lockdown, didn't we? Just used to bring them out and put them at the back of us.
Of course, the wife who turned up at Ruffy's 70th and nearly gave him a heart attack. Fantastic, Ruffy. You haven't got a man cave. You've just got you've got a man walk Hall of Fame, haven't you, Ruffy?
Yeah, I've just got pictures. Yeah, I don't have a man cave. No, I'd love to have a man cave. I'd love a wee bar. I don't know why you haven't. You've got more rooms than anybody, by the way. Yeah, I know, but I've never had to. You know, I'm quite happy.
Just turn one of your rooms. Plenty of rooms.
You know, I like my living room.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm not a man cave person.
No, not at all. You're not that. No, I know that you're not overly nostalgic.
Studio's enough down the bottom.
Yeah.
The cameras and all.
Ruffy,
Is that your film, your home movies?
Ruffy who just looks out over the entire area of Cumbernauld. Fantastic. Okay, I think we've got comfortable win there from Tam on Rangers against Ross County up at Dingwall. What do you think about that? So we'll get Celtic to win, so there'll be no slip-ups at the top if we are right in our predictions. Elsewhere, Aberdeen against St Johnstone. It's just strange. You wouldn't bet on Aberdeen. I mean, now they've lost Hedges, who at times everybody's talking about. You know, I listened to Don's Andrew Shiney's, our North East reporter, saying when Hedges is in, they're a different team. Niall McGinn's away, and you're looking at Aberdeen and you're thinking to yourself, they'll lose to St Mirren. You can't second guess them. Even their captains come out, Scott Browning, saying, listen, there's a few things that need to be said about attitude, fight, the lot. There's a few things missing in the dressing room.
Yeah, and they'll have to try and recruit that now, because if they do lose Hedges and they lose Ramsey in this window, they will have a few quid in the bank. But you know, they've lost probably two of their best players. You know, a young right back and a right winger who, for me, I think is a good player. So they'll have to replace them. But I think, sounding what Scott was saying, they need a different type of character in that dressing room. They need players that want to be there, that's hungry. You know, Stephen keeps going on about you need a different type of player to play for Aberdeen. So it'll be interesting to see what he does and what type of business that he does in the coming days.
Yeah,
Hedges is a Blackburn Rovers player. He's a Tony Mowbray player for me. Tony Mowbray he likes those kind of, you know, guys that come in off the line. You know, and for me, Hedges will be a good signing for Blackburn. And
Is he a loss for Aberdeen then?
I think he's a loss for Aberdeen. I do think so. But you just
What's
wonder.
a Stephen Glass player then?
Somebody less expensive, I think, than Hedges. I think Hedges is, if he's getting linked to Blackburn, could go up this season. They could get into the Premiership.
Second in the Championship.
Yeah, they could get into the Premier League this season. So I think it's a great move for him. But in terms of Hedges, you just wonder if everything in the garden's rosy.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean by that? Anyway, apart from anything else, I've got to ask you this. I know it's a crap joke. I know. I just actually. Just
a bit slow there. No, I got it eventually.
I met Charlie. Anyway, apart from anything else, did you not do that gag a couple of times ago?
He's been thinking about it all the time.
You do it all the time. But can I just say something to you? I asked you what type of player Stephen Glass likes. See, if I was an Aberdeen fan, I'd be thinking, okay, you've got a wee bit of bite in there with Scott Brown. You've got Lewis Ferguson again, who's got a bit of drive in him. If I was an Aberdeen fan, I'd think, is there any chance you can go and sign some flair? There's no flair.
Pace. I don't think there's a lot of pace in the team. I think they've got middle of the park. They're competitive. With Ferguson and Brown in there. Fullbacks, but there's no pace up front. Ramirez isn't going to run anybody. I don't think Hedges is rapid. They need pace in the wide areas. That's why they try to sign Martin Boyle at the start of the season. So they need pace.
I know they're looking at somebody down south through somebody that I know. And he is a speed machine. A young lad, but he's a speed machine. And that's
loan deal?
No, permanent.
Yeah.
But it will cost them a few quid. So that's why I'm interested to see how much money Aberdeen have. If they're selling Ramsey.
But Ramsey's deal doesn't look... It looks attractive when you see Bologna want him for 4.8 million, but that's not how the deal's structured, Charlie. They want to pay 800,000 now and then wait to the summer and then potentially give them the other 3.4 or whatever.
It's the same with Kerr Smith at Dundee United, isn't it? They got 600 grand or so, and it looks like the big figure is 2 million, but it might never get to 2 million. So it is difficult. But I think if they lost Ramsey, I think we'd be blow, because I think he's a good player. But sometimes you've got to just take that gamble and lose him and look to see if you can recruit better. But they'll look to try and, let's say, I think they need pace in that team and somebody that can go by somebody. And be a little bit different from what they have.
Do you think they've got a good recruitment policy at the moment, Ruffy?
I don't know who it is up there that's doing it, but I mean, I'd be on the phone to Celtic for Mickey Johnson. Mickey Johnson's got to be surplus now with the amount of players and the kind of players that's coming in. I don't know if it'd be a loan thing or whatever, but he's the kind of player that would excite me in that Aberdeen side.
Yeah, they definitely need something. I think they need flair. I think they need supply from the wide areas,
pace
as well. I mean,
I think they're a bit one pace as a team, and I've seen them a couple of times against Hibs.
Yeah,
don't threaten him behind enough.
Yeah, and I have to say, I mean, about a month ago, I watched the boy Jet, and he held it up well, and he laid it off. But he's got no pace. I mean, he's just your old.
No one to come to the ball. You know yourself, Charlie. You need somebody running behind.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the park, Ferguson likes to sit and get on it, and Brown's the same. If they play McCrory in there, he's similar. Johnny Hayes. They've not got any pace. They've not got anybody that's going to run by Ramirez. So they rely a lot on crosses. And if they come up against two big dominant centre halves, then they're going to struggle. Yeah,
but they may not struggle this weekend because St Johnstone, they're on a run of, I think they've lost 4 away games. They're breaking records.
One unbeaten.
They're breaking records this season on all the negative stuff because Callum Davison can't get a trick out of them at times, and of course it was a stick-on. It was going to be a stalemate against Dundee.
That was a stick-on stalemate or under 2 goals that game. It was always going to be cagey. I've been down there before, in relegation battles when it's such a big game. If you get beat, that gap's going to grow. Dundee were probably scared, the supporters, and it was very cagey.
We as a group weren't. We felt a little bit of tension in that St Johnstone side. That come the end of the game, it felt as if if we lose a goal here, by the way, we're 5 behind, and it's going to be a struggle. They got a wee bit edgy.
I think both teams settled for it the last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah,
to get beat.
I probably should have done better with the chance I have near the end.
Is that an acute angle though?
Yeah, I should have probably went with the outside my boot.
Yeah.
Good enough to put it round the goalie, but I tried to square it. I don't know. I thought that I think Booth as well to get it off the line, but there was nothing really else in the game. Griff maybe should have scored with the pass over the top, but apart from that, it was a scrappy game. Like I say, the wind spoiled it. It was terrible. The pitch was terrible, and it became edgy in the end. And listen, it's always a tough game going to Aberdeen, but St Johnstone will be looking to see, they've obviously getting a few in, the Loftus-Cheek, is it?
Yeah.
Through hamstring, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they bring in.
Can I ask you this, did you sense in that game that, you know, they were tentative, they were nervy, did you sense that?
Yeah, with about 10-15 minutes to go, I could see there was a wee bit nerves coming into St Johnstone. You know, because they've been on such a long losing run. We were on a bad run ourselves, but you know, from going from so high of winning 2 trophies and then to now being where they are, it is very difficult. And we felt it near the end of the game, and if we could have capitalised it, we never. And listen, we took a point, we got out there, and we look forward to 3 home games now. We've got to capitalise on that.
Yeah, do you sense there's some kind of confidence coming back with your boys?
Yeah, listen, yeah, we felt confident, obviously, with poor result, first game back after the break at Livingston. You know, we were really poor, and we bounced back. Difficult Scottish Cup game, we won that. And listen, a point away from home might not be a bad point at the end of the season. Yeah,
I was speaking to a few Dundee United fans in midweek there, you know, and they're as you know, the humour is at times cutting when you talk about derbies, but they're like, oh, Dundee are going down, and I said, well, do you not like the derby though? Do you not want them to stay up? And they're like, yeah, we love the Dundee derby, but it's just that whole sense of Dundee are going down.
Yeah.
You know, I personally, I just think Scottish football, and I know I've had a few great, you know, grumpy days on this programme, Ruffy, talking about changes that we need to see in Scottish football, but I don't want to see Dundee out of this league. I think the derbies are key to people's attraction. Great Dundee derbies, packed houses. Great Edinburgh derbies, packed. And of course, Aberdeen go anywhere, you know, a good support of the playing well. And of course, Celtic and Rangers. Me personally, 16 teams in the league is something that I've always loved to see.
No.
I just think this whole thing's cutthroat now.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think we have a bigger Premier League and Premiership, because there's, you know, your Kilmarnock, even Partick Thistle in the Championship, they, you know, big supporters, and it'd be good to get them in, but it is what it is, and you got to try and fight and scrap. Listen, we know we're in a bit of a relegation battle. We have to find a way. We've got 3 home games now, but we'll look forward to tomorrow. St Mirren, 4 points so far against them this season, and then we'll take care of the derby when it comes round, because it's, for me, it's the biggest game for us. You have to beat your rivals, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
The thing is, Peter, we had the chance 2 years ago to reconstruct the leagues. You know, with COVID, and we'd have saved Partick Thistle getting shafted and Hearts getting shafted. We never done it, so I don't think it's ever going to happen.
No, absolutely not. Until they take the power away from most of the lunatics who really control this whole thing and keep it as tight as it is. I know a lot of fans would love to see more teams in the league, but you know, we are hitting January, and it's all about, I mean, if both those teams become detached, then it might ease a wee bit of the pressure for other managers. But usually from January all the way through, I love the playoffs, but from January all the way through, Charlie, it's just fear football.
Oh, absolutely, because there's a lot at stake. Livelihoods, people, redundancies. It's not just about the football, it's about the other parts of the football club that people don't realise there.
Yeah.
And like I say, you know, Kilmarnock, 28 years of being in the Premier League, to now go down, and then, you know, trying to fight a way back. It's going to be difficult for them to come back, because the teams are there are above. But you know, we're the same. St Johnstone the same, had a big history in the league. You know, winning 2 trophies last season, to then all of a sudden be in this situation that they're in. You know, Cal must be scratching his head, think, wow, how's this happened? But you know, that's what happens, and you know, it's a way of trying to bounce back. The gap is not that big. You know, there's enough time, enough games to go and to win, but I'm sure there'll be other teams still getting dragged into it come the end of the season.
Yeah, don't forget, if you enjoy the chat, and we've got special guests aplenty coming up on the programme, one-to-ones, people picking their dream teams. Have you picked your dream team yet?
No, you tried to do it before Christmas, and obviously missed it.
Yeah, we'll get you to do your dream team. Tam's picked his, Ruffy's picked his, I've picked my dream team. Quite a few of the team have sat down. Only a couple of minutes, you get a chance to see 1 to 11 some special players picked, and you can agree or disagree, and there's lots more special programmes coming out on PLZ Soccer, so well worth hitting the subscribe button. And of course, everybody's got their favourites. You know, some people will look and say they don't like Charlie, and Peter King's just basically said that, and also the And also the prophecy says Tam has always been the best on the show. So I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. You don't.
I'm old man on there.
Well, the good thing is, you know, and quite a lot of people, you know, it's easy not to like me. That's totally and utterly understandable.
Correct.
But you, Charlie, you're one of those guys that's Marmite. Some people like you or not. Tam is absolutely Marmite. You know, there are some people who just can't stand him, and some people. But Ruffy,
Everybody loves him.
everybody loves him. There's nothing. I never see anybody on here saying Ruffy is a complete
that just
moron.
shows you if you don't have an opinion, that's what happens.
Because
People
it's
like you.
spineless. 'Cause if you were ice cream, you'd be vanilla.
Yes, but listen, if he was a paint, Magnolia on
Yep.
Magnolia. But to be fair, it's only been 10 years of giving him a wedge for nothing. He's just sat there and been the housewife's
Yes.
favourite. It's a great line, isn't it? I mean, it's just a great thing.
You get the older
Any
clientele in.
housewives this week?
No,
Thanks, right?
Absolutely. Well, listen, Aberdeen against St Johnstone is, you know, it's a belter of a game. I'm wondering how it's going to go. And of course, Stephen Glass, he has also uttered those immortal lines that many a manager we were talking about earlier has said, that one of his players has been affected by all this transfer speculation, Calvin Ramsey.
He's fine. I think it's definitely affected him a touch. I think anyone can see that. But we'll get to Monday night, and I think he'll still be with us, and he'll be ready to tackle the second part of the season. I'm not surprised it's affected him a little bit, being only 18, the first time he's been through this.
Yeah, well, he's obviously going to play him unless it's taken out of his hands. But for Aberdeen against St Johnstone, I'm going to go with the Dons to get the win in this one, 2-0.
I think Aberdeen will win. I think Aberdeen are a different kettle of fish at home. I think they're poor away from home. You can get at them. They like to play out from the back. You know, if you go and press them, particularly on poor pitches, you can get at them away from home. At home, I think they're strong. I think they were very good against Rangers a couple of weeks ago. So I think they'll win 2-1.
Yeah, St Johnstone manager Callum Davison certainly looking at his side and hoping that the options that he has now available to him, as Charlie alluded to there earlier, will give him a chance to maybe get something from Pittodrie.
Bag's experience. I think he knows the league. I think Melker's desperate to come and play, improve himself. So again, it's a fantastic addition. I think he's a top class player. He can play anywhere in the midfield. He can play as the deeper one. He can play more advanced. Again, it gives me options again. Again, what I probably didn't have like 5 or 6 games ago. So, delighted to get him. I've been chasing him for quite a while. So great to get it over the line.
Yeah, you've seen Hallberg at Hibs close up. Are they getting a good player?
I think he's a decent player, I think he's good. He's a good athlete. He can play in numerous positions. He actually played centre-half against Cove. So he can play centre-half, centre midfield. Not going to get you a lot of goals. Decent at set pieces. Takes a good dead ball and whips good balls in. So I think he's something different than what they've got. I think he's a fresh face. I think St Johnstone, when you're down the bottom, you want to see new signings as a player. You want to see 2 or 3 coming in to give you a hand. And I think he'll go in and he'll add a bit of energy into the midfield.
Yeah, Dundee against St Mirren. Charlie, this one is a big one. It could be one of those games, I think, that gives you a chance to kick on if you can get something out of this. But St Mirren, what a great win they had against Aberdeen.
Yeah, no, listen, Jim's got a good side there, good squad, but we've managed to take 4 points off them this year. We probably should have beat them at home first day of the season as well. So we're going in there with confidence that we can beat them. Listen, we have to turn up. We've got good players in our squad, good players in our team. Turn up on the day you'd fancy us to win, but they are dangerous. They've got some good players as well. I like McGrath. I think he's a good player. Henderson on one wing, and Conor Ronan, who you've got on loan from Wolves, is a good player. Can score goals as well. So yeah, we are at home and we need to win. It's as simple as that.
Charlie, I'm going to go Dundee 1, St Mirren 0. I'm going to back you boys to...
The big man's backed us as well.
Edge it. Have you backed them as well?
Yeah, I went 2-1. I went 2-1 in the assumption that they're going to pay decent money for a centre forward, and that might just help them kick on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so any chance of stumping up for Zach Rudd?
How much do you want from?
Yeah,
You want a decent price,
yeah.
and I'm sure both clubs will come to the best arrangement for a very nice young lad.
For the club or for the player?
For both. No, I don't think anybody would want to stand in the way of a player if he's going to a bigger side just now. But it might just be passing us in the way. So he's going to make that decision.
So it's up to you.
You might get him in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting match. It's nothing worse than joining a club and then all of a sudden it flips for you. What have you got for Dundee, St Mirren?
I've went for 2 each, but I'm looking at Dundee's fixtures: St Mirren at home, Dundee United at home, and Ross County at home the next 3 games. Big period for Dundee.
Yeah.
I don't want to put you in the spot here, but what's St Johnstone's next 3? Because if he takes 9 or even 7 out of the 9, there could be a massive gap if St Johnstone don't get their act together.
Well, let me tell you right now, St Johnstone's next 3 games, as well as this one up at Pittodrie, they've got Livingston away, they've got Dundee United, obviously, at McDermott Park, and then after that, they've got St Mirren away. So
2 aways, no home.
It's and by the time
they're all playing against each other.
It's a little group at the moment now.
This is the middle section before they even come up against some of the top teams. This is, I think, a really crucial period coming up, especially with the transfer window closing. As far as Hearts against Motherwell is concerned, Ruffy, I was impressed with Hearts in the second half. I thought they get into Celtic's faces. Did they deserve to take anything from the game? They had a penalty that gave them the perfect opportunity to get something from it. I thought Celtic could have had them out of sight in the first 45, but there's something about them at Tynecastle. They really are, they're good to watch. I like them when they're in about it.
Celtic.
Hearts.
Oh no, when Hearts at Tynecastle at home and the whole stadium was behind them, it must give you a tremendous lift. They've certainly got players in there. The wee boy Barry Mackay, I think, has been absolutely magnificent this year. I just love him getting on the ball because he does something different for everybody else. But Motherwell, I think the Watt scenario, I think they're still trying to get their heads around that, losing him. So I think Hearts at home should beat them, and I'm just wondering where Motherwell are looking at to get a goal. So I've went Hearts 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1.
I think I've went 2-0 Hearts as well. Motherwell, I was at the Motherwell game during the week. Ruffy's bang on. I think both teams, Hibs and Motherwell, looked as if they'd lost their top goal scorer. Both of them have lost their talisman. A lot of goals out of the team. It was a stick on 0-0. Dodged a wee chance at the end, but Motherwell never really created much. So I think they'll struggle against Hearts. I think I've went for 2-0 to Hearts as well.
Who's winning it for you, Charlie?
Hearts.
Hearts, yep.
He's got Mirren top one.
Especially at home. Well, he can change top at a minute's notice.
Oh, he done that last time, didn't he?
Yeah, as you well know. Hibbies against Livingston. I'm glad you're going through for it because I'm glad I'm not going through for it. They're looking for back-to-back wins against the Hibbies. Livingston are just a thorn in everybody's side, really, aren't they?
They are, but I think they're much better at home on that Astro. I think away from home, they don't pick up a lot of points. I think it'll be a difficult game, but I think Hibs at the minute, it's a team in transition. It's a team that's searching for a way to create and score goals again. Looks solid at the back. Porteous will come back into the team. The big boy Rocky at the back, Bashiri, has been excellent. I think those two at centre half will be a good partnership. I think Hibs look pretty solid at the back, midfield, workmanlike. Forward areas, they need better quality. And I'm sure that Sean and the board will be looking to try and get that before the window closes. They've lost a huge player in Martin Boyle. Young boy Melkerson, I think, picked up a knock in a bounce game. I think he might be a week or two away. Ewan Henderson still searching for his legs, so it's in that final third that I fear the worst for Hibs in terms of creating and scoring against a Livingston team that's just going to come and try and frustrate and try and get the Hibs fans on the players' back. So I think I've went for a narrow Hibs one. I think I maybe went for 1-0 to Hibs, but I think it'll be a very tight game, low scoring affair.
Yeah, I've gone 1-0.
I would say Hibs to edge it. Listen, played Livingston good, well organised. Davey's got them playing, some good players and that. But you talk about being creative. You got one of the best creative players in the league, Scott Allen. Can he get a game? Want to get rid of him? So there's either something Sean does, Disney fans. If these are the games that Scott Allen, you need team players like Scott Allen that will risk the ball and try and hang it. Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating and he might not hang it, but
there's something not right, Charlie.
No, there's something not right. There is something not right. But
Jack never really played them either.
No, but there's a talent
wrong
there that in these type of games where he could see a pass that no other player in that Hibs squad could see.
He's a top quality player.
It's then you get away with that and go with something else. It is difficult because I think he is a talented player, but they obviously look like they're trying to get him away and moved on. So
yeah, if he is out in the window, I think I'd just love to see. For me, Scott Allen is what I love to see in a player.
Yeah.
Likes yourself. I like going to watch yourself. Players that can actually, from the middle of the park, pick a pass, go that way instead of, the amount of midfielders you see that make a career out of going sideways is unbelievable.
I don't think he'd be suited to a kind of relegation battle. I think he'd be suited to a team that's near the top of the table, kind of having a lot of possession. Like a Kilmarnock or somebody like that would be a good signing for them.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody
But
like
Hibs
that.
have a lot of possession.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't work it out. Can't work it. I even like Joe. I don't say I even like. I like Joe Newell.
No, I like
think he's
him,
got a great
but-
left peg. But I would put runners around Scott Allen and just say, right, he's not going to track back as much as normal. A couple of runners around him, give him the ball. He'll play the pass, and you shuttle around him and make sure you're protecting him.
Yeah, no.
It's
a shame. It's just a shame his health issues. That's it's kind of set him back a big part of his career because he was flying before then.
yeah,
I was
absolutely.
going to ask Tam how he thinks Sean Malone's been doing since he came.
Doing well. I think 7 points out of 12. Only lost one game against Celtic. It's a work in progress, but
You weren't happy with one of our journalists' headlines the other day. That you thought it was a bit clickbaity, didn't you? But I mean, at the end of the day, we like
it's absolute nonsense.
we like it.
I was not happy with it.
We like a bit of a noise up.
That was a noise up.
Anyway, he's not
Share
under.
if you're listening.
Yeah, he's not under pressure. To be perfectly honest with you, Sean Maloney, once he builds his side, I think Hibs are in for exciting times. I don't think this team at the moment is the way he wants it. Okay, here's how the fixtures look. If you are looking forward to the weekend's football, hopefully you'll go to a game, enjoy it in the right manner. Ross County against Rangers, Aberdeen, St Johnstone, Celtic, Dundee United, Dundee, St Mirren, Hearts against Motherwell, and Hibs against Livingston is what's on offer. Charlie, since you've been away, I might as well tell you that the Predictor table has been interesting. It got really, really tight, and then in the last couple of weeks, suddenly Allison has raced away again with Ruffy 2 points ahead of me. Then McManus some way back in mid-table, just really playing for his own enjoyment at the moment.
Pulled that round.
He has. McDonald has dropped behind him, and then Tam Cowan.
Tam Cowan, he gets so lucky the other night, by the way.
Yeah,
He'd 2-1 to Dundee United and had one each. It was a 10-point swing on that. I was watching the game and it came up on my phone 2-1. I was...
Exactly. I was gutted at the ad 1-1. But to be perfectly honest with you, Tam Cowan's come in, he's replaced Gabs at the foot of the table.
Gabs had a touch in it.
Gab's delighted, isn't he? Couldn't wait to get it quick enough. Tam's always there. It'd be nice to have Tam spread, see what he would take.
I think Tam would...
He's a man that likes a lot of different foods, doesn't he?
Yeah,
so we could end up anywhere.
Well,
Right.
you can tell by his Instagram alone,
That's
he likes a
what
lot of different foods. Every day there's a different meal. Anyway, apart from anything else, what about the table? Here's how it looks at the moment. Will it change dramatically in your mind? Rangers still with that 4-point advantage. Hearts tucked in behind Celtic. Then Motherwell and Hibs and Aberdeen at that top half. The bottom half, I think Dundee and St Johnstone will be hoping that they can maybe claw some points back on Ross County because they're obviously facing the champions. So we shall see if it changes dramatically. Don't forget that next week we are going to give you a chance of competition if you are not living in Vietnam, because obviously we can't fly anybody over. But if you are interested and you are local, then we'll give you the chance to come and join us. We have teamed up with Social Recluse, which is a fantastic retro t-shirts, music t-shirts, football memorabilia. It's really great. It's in King Street in Glasgow. We've teamed up with them for the full month of February. We've got our own merchandise in there as well, Tam. We've put the Maestro tops in, all the t-shirts of the legends. We've got frames, canvases, the lot. It's all in there.
The Alan Ruff t-shirt?
The Roughster is in there. It's a chance to buy a Ruffy t-shirt.
My wife's wanting one of the paintings.
Of Ruffy?
Aye.
No.
She wants you to sign it for him as well. Aye.
Is that right?
Aye.
That is magnificent. And
Soft
suddenly...
spot. Wee soft spot for you, Ruffy.
Well, that is sensational, isn't it? And Ruffy, you okay? Will you...
Yes, yeah, I'm more than happy
Can you
with
get the
that.
defibrillator?
I'll bring that next week.
That is sensational.
I'll sign it. I'm more than happy to sign it and drop it off.
I mean, just drop it off at a Hibs home game, Ruffy. You'll be fine. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we've teamed up with them, and we're giving you the chance next week, you and your pal, to come along and join us. All the boys will be there. We're going to have a good night, a few laughs, bit of chit chat, and you'll get a chance to take home some of the stuff that's in the shop as well. Obviously, these are competition things. You won't get a chance to tan the shop, but you will get a chance to. You will get a chance to take home.
Don't tell me if it's Springman.
Some prize, yeah, exactly. You'll get a chance to take home some prizes. We'll have a good laugh. It's the 10th of February, Social Recluse in King Street. If you are out shopping in Glasgow, and hopefully you and your pal can win the competition. That's next week. But don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you can join the football family here in PLZ Soccer. We've got a great Gordon Strachan interview up there. There's more one-to-ones on the way, and Charlie will do his dream team for us shortly. Great to have you back, Charlie. Good luck in the game tomorrow. Thanks to Ruffy and Tam McManus, and from myself, Peter Martin, thanks to you for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on Monday.